Good morning. On behalf of the Rescuing Our Communities initiative to empower and educate victims in regard to misconduct in law enforcement, um, prosecutor's office, and judicial, I want to say, bodies, I am Clayton on behalf of Operation Rock here, feeling blessed um, and feeling fortunate, people. Feeling fortunate that life has taken me down such a road that I am competent enough to deal with my own problems because that's the true nature of life. You have to become competent enough through intelligence, through resources, whatever it might be, to deal with the waves of problems, the conspiracies to harm us, the direct actions of our enemies to do things that are going to try to derail us or keep us down so we cannot elevate above certain positions. As a victim of intimate, some of you who watch me out there who may also be victims of intimate partner stalking can relate to what I'm about to say. Most of the time, when we deal with intimate partner situations and partners who are obsessed with us, who are angry we may have ended a relationship, or who simply may just want to harm us because the only way that they can truly get any type of revenge against us is by lying on us to law enforcement. Because we have to be honest, people, the greatest tool that has the greatest weapon that has become a tool of minority women is the ability to lie on minority men to effectuate arrest against the members of their own population. It's a sad truth, people. I know there's a lot of women out there, a lot of people out there who are going to say I'm wrong. But people, as a man that this has happened to many times over the last 4 or 5 years of my life, I can say definitively that law enforcement uses minority women like pawns to obtain revenge, to help them, excuse me, obtain revenge against ex-partners who may have harmed them. It's just a simple fact. It's a reality, people. It's the truth. It's something that cannot be avoided. As much as law enforcement and activists want to pretend as though they are doing the correct thing, they actually are not, people. They violate the civil rights of innocent people every day. Deceptive, deceptive. Oh my God. Violate. I'm sorry. Civil rights. That was right. So people, like I was saying, they use these women, they use these minority women to violate the civil rights of their men. Because the greatest product that law enforcement has is what? The minorities that it uses to imprison and feed its own system. Okay, I'm with us now, guys. So how do we stop this, people? It's a large problem. It's a much larger problem than we think it is as individuals. And what can we do about it? The only thing we can truly do about it, audience, is we can do our best to attempt to bring as much awareness to what's going on as we can, because in doing that, what we do is we force the power that we as people realize that. So as I've told my audience in the last week or so, I think I've been talking about for maybe 2 or 3 episodes how my child's mother had decided to wage war on me because I chose to relinquish my parental rights. This in parental battles. Oftentimes we have many situations. We only have two types of situations in domestic violence in parental battles. You have a father who wants to be a father, or you have a father who doesn't want to be a father. And on the reverse side of that, you'll have a mother who wants a man to be a father and doesn't want to deal with the father, or you'll have a mother who wants a father to be a father, but only if he wants to be with her and works by her terms. I am dealing with the last of that problem. I am dealing with a woman who wants me to be a father to my child, but I have to want to be with her. And my child's mother is a disgusting roach, people. And I've always told, I grew up, unfortunately, people in an urban community. And we learn in urban communities that roaches don't belong in the daylight. They don't belong on the countertop when you cut the lights on. They don't belong crawling across the stove where your pots and pans are while the lights is on. No, roaches come out in the dark, people. Roaches live in the crevices of your cabinets. Roaches live in the crevices of your wall. Roaches hide in the corner under the floor. Roaches hide under the stove, people. Roaches are not meant to be brought out in public. And my child's mother is a roach. I'm just going to be honest with you. She knows she's a roach. She looks like a roach. She's a low level, disgusting, petty, just poor excuse of a woman who happened to get lucky enough that I was in such a level of grief this night that I unfortunately made the horrible decision about 3 weeks after I to try to get some type of pleasure to cover the pain I was in that night, and I just slept. Turned out people to be the worst mistake that I've ever made in my life because this woman is a horrible, decrepit, deplorable woman. So, considering I don't want to be with her now, she's pissed. She decides to try to set me up on new domestic violence allegations. Now, people, it might not have been as easy as if I was dealing with a corrupt, with a just and fair judicial body. But audience, I'm dealing with the New York City Family Court, and particularly the Brooklyn Family Court, people. And the Family Court is historically corrupt. It's horrible in Brooklyn, just like it is in Staten Island, because the Family Court is unregulated. And unregulated means no one supervises these judges for the misconduct or the professional, for the judicial standards violations that actually happen all the time. No one penalizes the lawyers for procedural due process violations and statutory violations because people, if there's no one to overwatch people with power, they're going to do whatever they want to do. And this is what happens in the family court systems and in the criminal court systems, and hell, even in the federal system, people. Without some type of oversight, prosecutors and cops go above and beyond their means to violate the civil rights of innocent people to obtain their goal, which is simply a conviction and deprive someone of their civil rights and freedom and liberty. And it works no different in domestic violence. Domestic violence is a $1 billion industry. And the greatest tool that law enforcement has to jam up people and totally just immerse their lives in domestic violence is the domestic violence temporary restraining order, which is issued without any proof, any validation that the charges or the allegations may actually be true against a person. It's issued off the statement of anyone. Now, people, the funniest part about domestic violence is you have to understand the double standard. The double standard in domestic violence is this: you will have a woman who will not be credible in any aspect of society. People. She may be a drug addict, a prostitute, a disgusting, low level woman that society does not respect. But the second she alleges a domestic violence offense, that woman immediately becomes credible. She comes from garbage to Mother Teresa. And the reason that is it really the degree to which that is, excuse me, depends on how bad law enforcement wants the man she's reporting. Sometimes when you get a crackhead, nasty chick that come in that's rude, that's ghetto, whatever it might be, she don't even have to be crackhead and nasty. She can have a target that law enforcement doesn't want to arrest, and they'll ignore this one because they don't want to arrest this man, even though this man might be doing valid things against this woman. If this woman is not, if she, her target of her deception, her false reporting, her harassment is not a target that law enforcement wants, people, they'll ignore that woman. And women out there who are listening to me knows this happens because you may have a baby father that law enforcement doesn't choose to arrest for whatever reason it might be, and he is harassing you. But the thing about it when you're a man, especially a black man, is you're a target of law enforcement because law enforcement has been created to make you a product of the system, a product of the judicial system, a product of the prison system, a product of the family court system, because law enforcement overall feeds off the lower population of people. It feeds off of the people who it subjects to its systems due to a lack of resources and knowledge. This is what is happening in domestic violence. The domestic violence restraining order is being used as a tool to violate the civil rights of people by allowing any baseless allegation to be alleged that is completely unproven. Yesterday, I got a phone call from a Bronx detective because I told my audience that an arrest was coming because I knew my ex, and I read you that order. I read you that order of protection. I think it was yesterday. It was a complete lie. And when you have someone who is willing to lie on you to law enforcement that bad to get an order of protection, people, you only can assume that they're trying to have you arrested. Because if you can lie this bad to get the order of protection, you're lying this bad because you need the order of protection to do something to me, not because I'm harassing you. So many of you may remember about a week ago, I made a video posting about why I was surrendering my parental rights. What you don't know is that the mother of my child was posting about me online, calling me a deadbeat dad, and doing everything she could to slight or harass me and defame me. And I called her, and she confessed that this was her. So, people, I made this video where I intelligently and decisively broke down why I'm suing the Brooklyn Family Court, why I'm suing the DA's office, and why I am suing the NYPD. I explained why I'm surrendering my parental rights because, people, if you have a woman who is doing all of this to you and maliciously keeping you from a child simply because you don't want to be with them, but she still expects money and she still expects you to do things, but you don't want to be with her. So she's going to keep you away from your child, but she's going to try to lie and manipulate the court to make you give her a check while she's withholding the child from you, and you've done nothing wrong to the child. People, that's called parental alienation, and it's grounds to have a woman have a woman's child support stopped. It's 100% guaranteed that you can have a woman's child support stopped if you can prove that they are lying and making you stay away from the child. That's guaranteed. That's established by, I believe, at least 30 to 50 case law examples in New York. That child support can be suspended if you can prove that a parent is purposely keeping you away from the child. Now, this woman knows that I have a hell of a case against her with the family court because I have documented proof that she's been an online prostitute for years and she's been lying. I have documented proof that she's a drug addict. I have documented proof that she does drugs in front of the child, people. I have proof that she's negligent. I have proof that she's a non-compliant parent, people. I have proof that the best interest of my child is not to be with this woman. So this woman realizes that her family court case is about to get significantly worse. So she decides to go lie on me to the cop. But people, she has to lay a very, very slick trap in order to do that. So this is how she does it, people. The first thing she does is she starts contacting me from my daughter's iPad, just to jar me enough that I give her some type of response. Because again, people, she needs to say I'm harassing her. Now, mind you, I was just served with an order of protection 2 days ago. When I talked to this direct detective yesterday, he that this woman made the report 4 days ago. So legally, people, with an order of protection, where you're arrested for allegedly violating this order of protection, you have to be served with the order in order for it to be effective. But people, not Clayton Howard, because the NYPD has a hard on for Clayton Howard because of the multi-million dollar lawsuit against him. So if they can use another domestic violence allegation to try to mess with my civil suit, they're going to run for it. So this jackass detective, I think his name is Baca, he calls me up and he's trying to talk to me polite, like, listen, I just want you to come to New York City so I can arrest you. So I told him, here's my hands, here's to put them together like two pieces of bread. I'm going to lay my large penis on it and you can suck it. That's the likelihood that I'm going to come to you and surrender for a lie. You can go fuck yourself. So I hung up the phone on this piece of shit. And people, I went to work because now I have skills that I did not have 2 or 3 years ago when these women were doing this to me. So the first thing I did was totally put together this woman's conspiracy against me. And people, it's not very good. See, the problem with women who constantly get away with lying to the police is they're not like criminals, even though they are criminals. An experienced criminal is going to be smart enough to hide his tracks and make sure things don't trace back to him. But a bitter, jealous ass woman who is used to using the police to lie on men and the police doing nothing about it, they're going to take no precautions to cover themselves. Because why should they? The police are just going to arrest the person, and if the lie is discovered, they're never going to get arrested. But see, people, it's much different when you have civil lawsuits against the NYPD because that puts pressure on them, especially when they're being sued for millions of dollars. They have to make sure that if they come after you again, it's justified. Because if they arrest you again for the same bullshit offense that they arrested you for before, without doing a proper investigation, 100% validates any civil action you get against them. That happened to me yesterday, people. So that's why you see me somewhat calm and happy. Because I realized what my child's mother did to me in the last 2 weeks ensured the fact that I'll be a millionaire very soon. Very, very soon. Her need for jealousy, her need to try to damage my life has ensured a civil suit against the Brooklyn Family Court people. Because again, I have sued the Brooklyn Family Court people. I've been building a case against them. I have numerous transcripts. So the funny part is, I've told you, my audience, that I am suing the Brooklyn Family Court. I know I've said that several times. I'm suing the judge, I'm suing the child's attorney, and I'm suing the defense counsel who represents my child's mother. Some might think that they're immune from suit, but there's a doctrine, in accordance with federal law, called, I believe it's Monell versus the Department of Social Services. And this is a landmark case. This case gives a civil litigant the right to hold a municipal office, a state agency responsible for the actions of its employees if those employees are decided to be in violation of professional misconduct or ethical violations, whatever it might be. This landmark case, which was originally created because a group of women were being violated by the Department of Ed and not being allowed to work up until the point where they could stop working paternity leave, Basically, what it did is it gave the court system a method to which that a municipality, like I said, a state office, a municipal office, whatever it might be can be held accountable for their employees' actions. So a lot of times prosecutors and cops will violate your civil rights because they're protected by either absolute immunity or qualified immunity, and they think, hey, you know what, I can do whatever the hell I want to this guy. I'll never get arrested. This is why they work together. Cops protect prosecutors, while prosecutors protect cops. This is why they communicate during the process so they can get their lies and stories together so they all work together against you as a single unit. So what this judge did to me was a huge civil rights violation. Now again, my child's mother is all over the record, the last 7 or 8 court records with me providing proof and making valid objections to the fact that this woman has been using abusive litigation on me and lied on the team. Now it's not only about my allegations either, because it's also about whether or not she has confessed to this. And ladies and gentlemen, my child's mother has totally confessed to lying on me to the police the first time. It's on audio. She signed an affidavit she had notarized herself, people. This is how stupid this woman is that she just thinks the corruption of the court is going to be enough to stop the fact that there's a sworn affidavit that she signed where she already admits that she lied on me to the police out of jealousy. So I have a really good civil attorney now, people. I think I may have mentioned it. His name is Tyrone Blackburn. So yesterday when this happened to me and I told him, he said, wait a minute, how the fuck are they trying to put a warrant on you when you just got served yesterday for a report that happened 3 days ago? I said, exactly. He said, what's up with her lawyer? Have you ever had contact with her lawyer? I said, yes, I've been contacting him the whole time about signing over my parental rights. He says he never sent you a certified letter with the order of protection. I said, no, he's never told me. He said, oh, they tried to set you up. He said, the court never notified you. Is it the same judge that you got the case with and the same judge you sued? I said, yes, it's the same judge. He said, they tried to set you up, Clayton. The judge issued you the order, even though you were a party to the case and you could have appeared. They didn't call you because they didn't want to call you because they didn't want you to object and show proof to the valid things they knew she was lying about. So they issued this order of protection and then mandated you to come to court, knowing she was going to lie on you to the cops. So Clayton, they tried to set you up on a false arrest. But it's okay now because now you got me, and I'm going to deal with what the fuck they're doing. Don't worry about it. People, I put all of this evidence together yesterday, people, and it turns out Clayton is right. I can completely prove that my child's mother framed me for domestic violence allegations. I've had no contact with her. I've never called her. I've submitted my phone records, my text messages. People, I've never called this woman. I've never threatened this woman. I've never done anything but make 2 podcasts where I definitively describe her as being a prostitute and a piece of shit, which is my legal right. Because again, people, I can prove that she does these things. And I also spoke about signing over my parental rights because I want nothing to do with this disgusting, low level, broke, horrible person. But guess what, people? The police didn't care about that. The police tried to arrest me. And they may still try again because people, the NYPD and the court system has a hard on for me because of the civil litigation. And this is why a man must work to gain the resources necessary to stop law enforcement and its corruption. Because women will use law enforcement when you don't have the resources or the intelligence to fight them to mess up your life. Women who may have been in abusive relationships can understand what I'm about to say. When you're in an abusive relationship with a man who keeps you broke, a man who doesn't want you to do anything, he may keep you in the house. The the major problem you're gonna have is when you decide to leave that man and elevate your life. Because he doesn't want you to elevate above him. He wants to keep you low above below him. So what will he do? And women out there who have been stalked, you know what I'm talking about. He'll stalk you. He'll beat you. He'll try to abuse you and affect your confidence. So you have to stay below him and you're not able to rise above him. And women are the same. When women date a man who may be more than them and that man starts to realize, you know something, I want to change my life, I want to do things, or they see that man is on a particular path without them, they'll use law enforcement to jam that man's life up. They'll call the cops on him. They'll file false police reports on him. They'll lie and accuse him of rape or all types of crimes because they know those allegations in the system will subject that man to either the criminal justice or family justice system, which can deprive him of his freedom. And that's what they want because when you hurt women that can't do anything against you, they want to hurt you by either destroying your life or imprisoning you, which also destroys your life. Law enforcement doesn't deal with this as a whole, but it really should be dealt with. The major aspect of domestic violence has no longer become physical abuse, it's become false litigation and malicious prosecution. Family court, criminal court allegations are the largest tool used by bitter partners to effectuate a revenge on people who do not want them anymore. And law enforcement won't address this problem because if they address the problem, it hurts them overall because now they can't falsely prosecute and falsely arrest and maliciously prosecute the hundreds of thousands of people who go through this process unjustly every month and the millions of people who go through malicious prosecution and false arrest every year. Because people, I believe the combined number of false arrests and the malicious prosecutions in the United States probably exceed a million a year because it's so easy to prosecute someone, people. It only takes a prosecutor to create a narrative, people. That's it. And how's that narrative created? By a simple police arrest. And people, the police need no power to arrest you. This is why probable cause is up for such debate I want to say, I don't want to say adjusted. I believe the word is adjusted. Um, because probable cause is fucked up, people. Probable cause is only defined as someone who, within a reasonable capacity, may believe that you did this. What about if this person is adverse to you because of your race or your sex? What does that mean, people? They took no account to that with the history of racism in this country and the violation of minority rights. There is no stipulation in the probable cause doctrine that provides for something like that. What about bias in law enforcement, biased in gender, biased in race? Bias in gender, bias in race, that would convince a reasonable person that someone was guilty of a crime. Example being given is this. Let's just say if an individual, a cop, thinks all black people are bank robbers. Now, a black man is walking down the block, coming back from the grocery store with a bag. Halfway across town, there's been a bank robbery. Bald head black guy carrying a brown bag. 15 miles away, no way the two can be connected. The guy is too far. He's on foot. He's carrying a bag full of groceries. Two police officers pull up on him, ask him his name, tell him he fits the description of a bank robber, arrest him. Knocks the bag out of his hand. It's all groceries, but they don't care. They bring him down to the precinct. They didn't find the bank robber, but this guy fits the description. He's a bald head black guy they saw walking down the street with a plastic bag. Now they charge him with this bank robbery. He has no knowledge of the law. He has no attorney. They give him a court attorney. They end up convicting him of this bank robbery. This guy does 15 years in jail, only for DNA evidence 20 years later, caught from maybe a fingerprint under the countertop, reveals that this guy didn't do it. People, this is what law enforcement does to people. They set you up on false charges. They create narratives strong enough to convince a jury and a judge that you will have possibly done it, and then they convict you for that false narrative. And the entire time you are fighting to prove you're innocent. Law enforcement in the United States is not about guilty until innocent. You are is not about innocent until being proved guilty. Excuse me, people. It's early. Law enforcement in this country, you are guilty until you fight your ass off to prove your innocence. Law enforcement doesn't care about you being innocent, people. They care about prosecuting you. And they literally falsify evidence and manipulate narratives and create evidence to obtain that objective against people they know are completely innocent. Now, not only is this happening to me as a victim, it's also happening to me in my life as a witness. I personally know a major situation right now where a woman has totally lied through her teeth to get revenge on a man who was abusive to her, but abandoned her and left her without the lifestyle she wanted. So what this woman did was take valid allegations of a lifestyle that she was completely complicit in, excuse me, and she decided to use the federal government to have this man locked up for the rest of his life. Now, unfortunately, this guy is not the best gentleman. He's a good guy, but he has a lot of bad ways about him. You know what I'm saying? He has a history of being a piece of crap, if you just want to say it. But he's an incredibly successful man. He has a history of domestic violence against women. So that history of domestic violence against women and his nefarious lifestyle and the things he had done has been enough for prosecutors to create a narrative behind this man's life that he may have been guilty for the things that these women have accused him for. This one woman who I happen to be involved with. It's not true, people. It's a complete lie. But there's so much. The thing about women who use partial truths is if the truth regards domestic violence and abuse, but the lie regards the criminality and her involvement in it, They will use the domestic violence abuse that is completely unconnected to overshadow the woman's criminality and just put the domestic violence up like this. So the media, if you're looking at my example and looking at my hand, there were two aspects to the situation. There was the woman's own criminality and there was the man's domestic violence. But law enforcement wants to prosecute the man because they want the man more. So they'll use the man's domestic violence to overshadow the woman's criminality. And then when the man gets in front of the camera, all you see is that he beat the woman and he's a crime. You don't see that the woman had involvement. You just see that the man beat her and that he committed a crime. And people, that's wrong. I totally believe that when law enforcement does this and they manipulate narratives, they ignore exculpatory evidence when they falsely accuse people who they know are possibly innocent just so they can get arrest or prosecutions. That's wrong, people, and that's the greatest problem that we're facing in the American judicial system overall. Family court, civil court, criminal court, people, we are facing professional and judicial misconduct from the officials that run the system, people. These people are human. Just because a judge sits on a bench, he's not God. He's not Solomon. He's not the great decider of all decisions. He's a person who has some experience in the law, who may have been in a few other judges before. So all of being a judge about is about legal experience. They're not perfect. They make mistakes. They have their own bias. They have their own opinions. So a judge's decision is not always based on the law. It's sometimes and many times it's based on their personal perceptions of people. The law is supposed to decide cases, people, not the personal perception of people. Arrests are not supposed to be as decided by cops who don't like black people. Arrests are not supposed to be decided by individuals who don't like white people. Arrests are not supposed to be decided by women who hate men, and arrests are not supposed to be decided by men who may hate women or other men. Arrests are supposed to be decided by criminal statute, the penal law, and if there are direct violations to a criminal statute or anything concerning the penal law. Cops should not be able to arrest people by creating lies against them and then using the protection of the 11th Amendment to claim that it was probable cause. People, no, that's wrong. That's not justice. That's how they manipulate the system to violate the civil rights of other people. So I'm only going to do a hot 30 minutes today, people, which I'm really proud of, people. But again, we have to remember when dealing with law enforcement that conspiracies, like I said, it's kind of like Thanos in the Avengers. You have five different aspects to a conspiracy in law enforcement that you need to understand if you're going to fight what's happening in you. One, you have to deal with the civilians, the people who work with inside the police department, the judges' chambers, etc., like that. The court officials, excuse me, they're one aspect of a conspiracy. The next aspect is the advocates, the people that are hired to help victims, to put them in front of resources, the people who are supposed to do the right things for the victims. If they turn on you, you have two aspects of the conspiracy already against you: the civilians who work in the police station and the court, and the advocates who work for the agencies. The next you have is the cops. The cops are probably the worst aspect of this because what starts you in the last two phases is the corruption and misconduct of cops, which is incredibly common, especially if you come from some place where law enforcement is historically racist against your nationality of people. Next, you have prosecutors, which fabricate, excuse me, false narratives in order to put people in jail using using altered evidence, using fabricated evidence, using by withholding evidence. This is how prosecutors justify their story when they conspire to lock people up for things they didn't do. And the last, you have the judge who ignores the procedural due process violations, the judge who ignores the constitutional violations, and the judge who will convict a person knowing that there is enough evidence to exonerate this person. And when you put all five of these together, you have a conspiracy to deprive innocent people of their civil rights. And that is what the entire domestic violence and criminal aspect of law enforcement is based on. It's based on false reporting, it's based on false petitions, and it's based on malicious prosecutions. And this is why I have sued the Brooklyn Family Court and the Richmond County Court and the NYPD. Because over the course of the last 4 years, I have been maliciously prosecuted and falsely arrested almost 6 times, people, for crimes I was 100% innocent of, people. But see, what they do is they throw investigative cards on you so they can just jam you up. They don't try to figure out if you actually do it. They just arrest you and try to let the court deal with it. And then when you come back and prove that the arrest was based on no probable cause, They try to use the immunity granted by the 11th Amendment to say, well, you know what? I just arrested him for a complaint. No, it does not work like that, people. So again, today I can say confidently, people, that my child's mother has probably just gotten me another couple of millions of dollars. And because she's a complete piece of shit, people, I'm gonna leave that roach woman exactly where I found her, in the dark, underneath cabinets, and in the crevice of the shitty ass hole in the wall she lived in, so I never have to be near a roach ass woman again. When you come in contact with your life with people who are who are incredibly beneath you, you don't uplift them, people, because you can't make garbage look like it's not garbage. You can't make a piece of shit look like a pound of sugar, people. Shit don't turn into sugar. Sugar can turn into shit, but shit can never become sugar, people. Bad can get good, but decrepit excretions from someone's body can never become sugar in the life of someone else. I know what you're going to say, those of you who are a little more intelligent. Excuse me. People's shit can be fertilizer. Some people's shit can be fertilizer. But someone who is infested with toxins and radioactive activity, they can shit on the ground and they'll kill a whole plant. And that's the type of person my child's mother is. My child's mother is excretion from a radioactive, toxic person. And as soon as she comes into the life of anyone, she destroys all the positivity around them because she's a loser and a drug addict who has nothing going for herself. So she thought she would use a child because she had an honorable, noble man who wanted to be the child's father as her ladder out of poverty and out of being a fucked up, horrible person. The people, she was wrong. In order for a man to want to uplift a woman, even if he's not with her, she has to be a loyal, good, and honest person. No man is going to want to uplift a woman just because he has a child with her if she's doing everything she can to destroy her. See, once that man gets around her, he's going to do everything in his power to stay away from her, people, and leave her exactly where she belongs, in the gutter. And people, that's what I've decided to do. People, I don't get angry. Um, I don't get vengeful. I don't want to hurt. I don't want to hurt this girl. I could care less about her. People. The truth of the matter is, people, if I have my way, me and this woman will never be in the same room again. She's completely beneath me. She's a disgusting, low-level, vile woman, and she's incredibly unattractive. I used to see this woman, people, and think, Clayton, you made the horriblest mistake in your life. What the fuck was you thinking, fucking this little roach ass girl? You deserve this because this girl is a disgusting roach, people. I'm ashamed of my child's mother, people. This is why I never show her picture. While I've never shown her with the child, people, I think my child's mother is probably the most unattractive woman I've ever slept with. She was a horrible mistake. I never even wanted my ex to meet her because I was so embarrassed by how ugly she was. She thinks she's pretty, people. I remember she used to text me talking about, I have a beautiful baby mother. I need to be happy. One thing about being beautiful women, if a man has a child with you, is you don't have to tell him you're beautiful. He knows you're beautiful. No woman has to tell a man that they're beautiful in order to be called beautiful. If a man doesn't call you beautiful, if a man never looks at you, if he doesn't acknowledge that you have any attractiveness to you, it's because he's not attracted to you and he knows you're not beautiful. My child's mother, admittedly, is not beautiful. She's a decrepit, roach ass little chick. She's a horrible person. She dresses like a boy. She's fucking disgusting. Every time I look at this woman, I really want to throw up because of the mistake I made. Although some people say, no, you got to live with your mistakes, I live with mine. My mother died. People. I was in horrible pain this night, and this girl just happened to come through, wanting to feel some life, wanting to feel like something else other than pain. I decided to have sex with this disgusting creature, and out of being a careful person my whole life, I happened to impregnate the worst creature on the planet that I could have possibly had a child with. This woman is trying to destroy my life because she knows I realize that and I don't want to be with her. So people, I've elected to totally sign off on my parental rights to the child, and therefore I don't have to be with her. Now I'm not doing that again because of any relationship I want with her to be spiteful for the child. As I've shown my audience, I've shown you the depth to which this woman is willing to lie on me and file false police reports. I've shown you the depth that she's willing to get revenge on me. So, people, how can I, as a man, possibly want to be around a woman who would want to destroy my life because I don't want her? Fuck no. Everything that this woman has done to me in the last 3 weeks, people have solidified my stance to sign off my parental rights. I'm not angry with her, people. I don't want to call her. I'm not going to fight her for custody. I don't want nothing to do with that child. Because if I have to deal with the child, I have to deal with this disgusting ass creature. And I don't want this woman anywhere around me. So, people, thank God My attorney has now gotten on this one, the civil attorney, the one who's actually suing the court and suing the NYPD. He contacted her lawyer yesterday. He threatened them with an immediate civil action because this was a false complaint and it's a malicious prosecution. And you violated professional standards by not sending me a certified copy of the order, just hoping that your client could go effectuate an arrest by lying behind my back. See, people, that's what the family court does. Angry that I sued them, my child's mother and the lawyer got together and conspired, and the judge, excuse me, conspired to issue an order of protection against me because of the lawsuit. Then they tried to frame me in a set up arrest by granting this woman an order of protection that alleged no domestic violence allegations, people. So she could use the order of protection to lie and get me violated, and then the court could have me arrested. So now when I go back to the court, because they have no legal reason to keep me away from my child, now they do because the mother lied on me and has an order of protection against me. But people, guess what? I don't give a fuck anymore. They can put this on me. I'm gonna beat this because I did not do anything to. I can totally prove I never threatened this woman. I never even cursed her out. So once we get to a trial with my actual lawyer, that's gonna be thrown out. This dusty bitch is gonna have an order of protection on her, and I'm not gonna go anywhere near this child. The only way I have something to do with this child is that they grant me full custody and give me an order of protection to keep this crackhead bitch away from me. Because as long as I will not deal with this child having to deal with this woman. I have proved that she filed false charges on me, and people, I cannot wait to go to court with this lawyer because her lawyer is incompetent. He's a fat racist piece of shit, people, and I can say that because the First Amendment protects my right to have an opinion of people. If I happen to think the judge is a beautiful Pakistani woman and I say she's an attractive Paki, people, that's in private conversation. That doesn't violate the Family Court Act. If I say my child's lawyer is not working within the best interests of a child and she's a bitch, people, that doesn't violate the Family Court Act. If I say that my child's lawyer is a fat racist cracker, it doesn't violate the Family Court Act, especially if this man has admitted on the record that he's prejudiced against black people. It definitely doesn't violate the Family Court Act. But people, this is what the family court does. It issues the order of protections because it knows the woman is going to go lie on the man again. And it wants to give that woman the tool to arrest him, so now the criminal court gets a piece of it. And now it can extend the family court litigation. You see, what they fucked up is they thought I was playing about the civil suit. People, I filed a civil suit against the Kings County Brooklyn Court in February of this year. It's been in for months. They're so stupid because the city hasn't served them yet. The city has a copy of it, but the city hasn't done anything as far as with the defendants yet, so they didn't know. People, this just ensured the fact that I'm going to get money from the Kings County Court. So I see I have a watcher, and I usually only have one viewer this early in the morning, my bum ass child's mother. So if this happens to be you watching, you disgusting low level turd, you should know for a fact that I can prove that you tried to frame me on new domestic violence allegations. So you should be ready for what's about to happen to you because you're about to have a hell of a lot of problems with law enforcement. You think you did what you did and you got away with it, but you wasn't smart. And it's because you're not smart, because you're a dumbass chick. People, on behalf of Justice in Operation Rock, people, you have to let the garbage you find stay in the garbage. And unfortunately for me, people, when I met this woman, I found her in a garbage can. When you dig in garbage cans thinking you're going to come out with something that's of value, people, you rarely ever do. When you dig in a garbage can, you come out with shit. I put my penis in a piece of garbage, people, and it came out covered in crap. The crap is now what I'm living through in my life with this disgusting creature who thinks she's going to lie on me and use a child to come up in her life. No, you bum ass creature. You're going to stay in the hole you belong, and I'm never going to be within 50 feet of your bum ass again. And I'm quite confident. So, people, on behalf of justice, on behalf of Operation Rock, and on behalf of a man who has gained the skills to fight for false narratives, the false arrest and the malicious prosecution of bitter, deceitful, lying ex-partners who law enforcement refuses to arrest in order not to expose their own corruption, I'm Clayton, here able to again verify how a woman has lied and totally used law enforcement to attempt to have me falsely arrested. See, people, this is a major problem. And the problem and the reason why it's not dealt with is because overall, when people are arrested like this, you don't have the resources or the knowledge to fight back. So you're just happy that you get out of the situation. Absolutely not, people. When someone lies on you to the cops, when someone files a false petition against you in family court, you need to speak out. Because the only way to fix the problem is to address it. Once we address the problem of how these women are abusing process and lying through their teeth, people, the police will have no choice due to public pressure but to start arresting these women because they're going to have to be accountable. Once they do, people, the entire structure of domestic violence will change. I guarantee you that. When police start arresting the women who can be definitively proven to have lied in a family court petition or on a domestic violence incident report, I guarantee you the domestic violence rate is going to drop in any city that this happens to. Because the biggest factor contributing to the complaints and arrest in domestic violence offenses is false reports or altered reports by bitter ex-partners who want to get revenge on you. I'm telling you, 40% of the complaints are false. 40% of the complaints are false. The cops know this. This is why they won't stop the process because it's an easy arrest for them. It gives them the numbers to say that they're fighting crime. You're not fighting crime falsely arresting me. You're putting money in my damn pocket. People, on behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, on behalf of a man who has every intention to expose the corruption and the lies of his dirty, disgusting of a child's mother, people, I'm out for justice. I'm going to expose this woman. I'm going to get millions of dollars from the Brooklyn Family Court, and then I'm going to leave this disgusting, broke-ass, uneducated roach woman right where I found her, in the trash in the gutter where she belongs. Demonic, if that's you, you're a fucking idiot, and you're going to spend a great deal of time in jail. On behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, people, thank you. Hopefully, this is enough to get me full custody to people, because I totally believe now that I can prove she framed me, this judge is not going to have a real choice but to grant me full custody, considering the mother's prostitution and drug life and the fact that she's filing false reports on me. I think I'm going to get full custody now. People, on behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, stay tuned. It's a journey, people. It may seem like there's always drama, but people, one thing about being a capable man is you'll always have enemies who want to hurt you. I'm Clayton. I stand up to my fucking enemies. My loser ass ex, my bitter baby mother, they're going to be exactly what they're long in jail, and I'm going to get millions of dollars due to discrimination and racism in law enforcement. And my prayer is that it actually compels law enforcement in the state of New York and New Jersey to look more into the false reports of lying ass bitter women like this, to not ignore the men who have valid proof that these women are lying to the courts multiple times, that they take action, and maybe the face of domestic violence changes through the lawsuit that Clayton Howard has had the strength of character and the will of resistance to fight these corrupt law enforcement systems, to prove that these women are liars and that law enforcement is intentionally protecting them to hide their own misconduct. Because that's what this is, people. That's why women who lie to the police are not prosecuted. So law enforcement doesn't have to expose their own corruption. You don't have to expose it, law enforcement. I got a big fucking mouth, and I'm going to expose it for you. On behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, Demonic, if that's you, I can't wait to see your sorry ass in court, you bum ass chick. Thank you for watching, people. If you got a bum ass baby mother who's trying to do things to destroy you because she's mad, or a bum ass baby father, people, don't allow yourself to lose your composure. You get them by exposing them to be the lying turds they are, people. Because that's the greatest weapon you will ever have against someone who wants to violate your civil rights. Is exposing them to be a liar before everybody that matters. Because people, once they lose their credibility, they have no power. People, you attack their credibility with the truth. You don't alter it. You don't falsify it. You don't manipulate it to make it appear to fit your story. The truth doesn't fit a story. The truth just is what it is. And I've learned that fighting the lies of bitter, jealous ass women. People, you don't manipulate the truth. You put the evidence down. You say that's what it is. People, you have nothing. If you've done nothing wrong, you have nothing to worry about. And I come from such a place of strength, such a place of competency, such a place of honesty. I have nothing to worry about. Again, people, follow us for more. Follow us for more advice on how you can fight the lies of bitter ass lying ex partners who know they're losers and who know their only mission in life is to try to harm you, to keep you on a low level of life that they currently live now. Demonic Smith, the mother of my child, I will never stay in the garbage with your bum ass. You're going to die in the ghetto because you come from the ghetto and you never want to get out of the ghetto. That's why you're an uneducated drug addict and a prostitute, and you're mad that I have proof of that. So don't worry. I'm going to be sure to expose that to the family court, to the Commissioner of Child Support Services, to the police, and to everybody else that I can show the discovery I have on you with my attorney now. And I guarantee you that you will pay for what you have just done by being prosecuted yourself for false reports and neglect of your child. let me be clear about the action that's going to happen to you. You're going to be you're going to be investigated by ACS. You already are. My lawyer's reaching out to you. You're going to be arrested for filing false reports, and you're probably 100% going to lose that kid. Or I'll be granted my release. Well, people, thank you for watching today. Hopefully, this was a rational and educated podcast, and we'll be tomorrow where we discuss more of the corruption of the NYPD and recordings of how they violate procedural due process to arrest men without any proof that the crime actually happened. On behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, again, people, this is Clayton. Thank you. 47 minutes. We did great today. Stay tuned, people, because I'm on a mission. We're going to expose the corruption of the NYPD and the family court system. But we're going to die trying. Thank you for listening, people.